listens to music first, always.
We are unstoppable.
Open the frontiers to make people meet people.
Music is not fireworks. Music is feeling.
You're good to go.
Thank you, vote for the music!
This is Vote for the Music, the Eurovision podcast.
Hello and welcome back to Vote for the Music, the Eurovision podcast. So we finally are here. Yes, tomorrow night is the final of Melodifestivalen 2024 and the end to the Eurovision Song Contest 2024 National Finals season. By approximately 10 o'clock Swedish time tomorrow, we will have a Swedish entry for the Eurovision Song Contest 2024 on home soil in Malmö. So, having qualified from our previous 5 heats, the 12 artists that will be performing in the Friends Arena in Stockholm are Maria Sir, Jay Smith, Lisa Ajax, Smash Into Pieces, Cassiopeia, Annika Wickerholder, Marcus and Martinez, Dotter, Medina, Liamo, Jacqueline, and Danny Saucedo. So we have a big mix of names here. 10 of these came direct to the final from the heats, and 2 of these came through the qualifying round, which was held at the end of last week's show. So if we begin with Maria Sir's When I'm Gone. Now Maria Sir is a Ukrainian singer who left Ukraine after the Russian invasion, and she ended up settling in Sweden. After DMing Sarah Dawn Finer, of all people, former Melodifestivalen contestant, host and actress behind Linda Woodruff, she ended up being able to get the opportunity to be able to perform in the Avicii Arena in Stockholm, where Eurovision 2016 were held for a charity concert about Ukraine, which gave her the platform to be signed with Warner Music and then go on to participate in Melodifestivalen in 2023, where last year she finished 9th. And now she's back for Melodifestivalen in 2024, and she is one of the favourites with an entirely different song, genre-wise, tone-wise, feel-wise. When I'm Gone really seems to hold a chance this year. So obviously it is one of the most obvious choices to open the final, as it's really going to get the mood going, get the party started, get people set a tone for the night. Now the last person to win from first in the running order was Charlotte Perrelli in 2008, where she won from first. She also, by complete coincidence, won from first in 1999 as well. So could Maria Sir be another one to do that? Moving on to next in the running order, on number 2 we have Jay Smith, Back to My Roots. Now number 2 is not necessarily a position you want to be in. It's one Lisa Ajax, who we'll be talking about in just a second, has faced quite a few times, but Jay Smith has been placed there. Now Jay Smith was the second qualifier from the qualifying round, and he only just qualified. He qualified by 0 points and he won a tie break, so he only just managed to get into this final, and he has been put on second, which doesn't say a lot for his chances. As My Roots is best described as one of those many songs you got on the American Song Contest a couple of years ago, if you remember that little thing, where there were a lot of quite bog standard, quite generic country songs about family, and this is exactly that. It sounds exactly the same as that. It's not particularly interesting. There's a massive prop in the background saying Back to My Roots a couple of times on it, but you can understand why this has been put on second. Jay Smith does have quite a fan base though, which is one of the reasons many believe he got through the qualifying round last week. He did win Idol in 2010, which is the Swedish version of Pop Idol, as you probably could have guessed. And of course, he has remained fairly relevant ever since. So there could be a shock big telly vote for him, but I would be heavily surprised. This is probably one of the ones that will come toward the bottom of the table, you'd think. Now, speaking of Lisa Ajax, as I just mentioned her a couple of minutes ago, she is number 3, so she just missed out being put on second once again, and probably the reason she wasn't put on second was because it happened a few times before. But Lisa Ajax, All for Light, it's one of our 3 ballads of the night, and it's very much the most sort of radio-friendly of the ballads. It's definitely the sort of ballad you could hear being played on sort of a radio station aimed at sort of more middle-aged people. And that's not a bad thing. It's a very well-constructed pop ballad, very commercial ballad. But is it going to win? Probably not. However, the Mamas did win on third, and they also had a song which people were underestimating. So perhaps it could be the year for Elisa Ajax. But like again with Joseph, I would expect this probably will come toward the bottom of the table. Now, number 4 is last year's third place finishers, and that's Smash Into Pieces, the heavy metal band who are here with Heroes to Calling, a big positivity rock anthem. Yes, last year the song was 6 feet under. This year they seem to have dumbed themselves down a bit and appealed more towards their child fan base. And they've taken all of the negative references out, and we're here for a positivity rock anthem with Heroes Are Calling. The song is pretty much what I'd expect if you heard this song last year. It's very similar. The staging's probably weaker than last year, but the song probably has a more memorable hook, but it's very much in the same vein. Last year they came third. This year, will they do the same? Will they match that? Will they do better? It's really hard to tell. But based on last year, I would think this probably will finish in the top 5, as there will be a lot of people in Sweden voting based on genre only, and as this is the only rock song in the final, a lot of people will just vote for it based on it being a rock song if they are into rock. Now, 5th in our running order is Cassiopeia, Give My Heart a Break. Now, this song is sort of a pure fun of the night. Entirely in a major key, this is a very happy song, very positive song that uses very interesting melodies and stuff to just have a wonderful, happy time on stage. It's all love hearts and dancers and Cassie just being on top of the world. Even though actually the lyrics of this are sort of leave me alone, stop making me feel sad. But it's a really happy sounding song. This could be potentially, ironically, a dark horse. This could cut through both the jurors, who this is very radio friendly, and also the televote, who might just want something a bit different. And this could get higher than you might expect on that scoreboard. Now, Cassiopeia, of course, she wrote Tattoo, which was the winner of the Eurovision Song Contest 2023, and she also co-wrote Wonderland, which won the American Song Contest in 2022. So she is a double winner of Eurovision events as a songwriter, so perhaps she could come through and do it as a solo artist. We'll see. My personal prediction for this is probably about mid-table, 6th, 7th maybe, but potentially she could do better, or she could do a lot worse. Who knows? There's a big unknown with a lot of the placements of these, because this year does not seem as clear-cut as previous years had been. Now, number 6 is Annika Wigawada, who won last week's qualifying round. She was in last week's heat as well, but she sailed through last week's qualifying round very easily with her ballad Light. And this is your big Melfest ballad. This is the most sort of generic and most expected of the ballads, where Elisa Ajax's ballad was very sort of radio-friendly. This is more sort of, this is Melfest friendly, I guess. If it can be compared to anything, maybe Maria Ser's entry last year, actually, because it's that sort of ballad, it's that sort of genre. It's fine, it's nothing special, it just is. But there isn't anything wrong with it. So potentially it could get through on that sort of votes where people are like, I quite like this, I don't have any strong opinion on it, but I quite like this, or maybe that could really harm it because no one will vote for it. Now, number 7 is Marcus and Martinez, Unforgettable, and this is the big favourite to win. It's very strange to try and imagine a reality on Saturday night where this hasn't won. I would be very surprised. I don't think there's really any chance of anything else but this winning. But Marcus and Martinez came second in Melodifestivalen last year, still a very, very respectable amount of points. Even though Loreen won it by a landslide, they still held a lot firmer than lots of other songs have done in Melodifestivalen, and they've got their own support, which I think will be very important for this year. They, of course, have been established for quite some time. They're very popular across the Nordics and other parts of Northern Europe, and they have a very large fan base. The song is probably one of the best staged Melodifestivalen songs I've ever seen. I could only put it up there with something like Loreen's Tattoo, which of course won last year. It's exceptionally well staged. It's got so many parts to it, and it completely builds and builds and builds, and it's got so much energy. Air was good, but it was, a little bit cheesy. This is like, oh, yeah, We know we're cool, and we know we're going to take this. There is some degree of chance that they won't win on Saturday, and I'll be eating my words, but the chances of that happening seem very, very slim. And if you look at last year, which I think was probably a slightly weaker overall package than this year's song, although I do think Air was very, very good. Even that against Loreen, who was absolutely taking it away, managed to get about the same joy points and Teddy Vote points as Cornelia Jacobs got the year before when she won Melodifestivalen. Even if they got the same points they got last year, when Loreen was already taking most of the points on that board, they probably could still win it outright. So I think with Loreen removed, they're very, very likely to absolutely walk away with a victory just like she did. Song number 8, Dotter. It's not easy to write a love song. Now, Dotter has been a Melfest favourite for quite some time. She participated in 2018, 2020 and 2021, and she's garnered a huge fan base since then. In 2020, she of course finished second, losing to the Mamas by just 1 point with Bulletproof, something which her fans will never live down. Now, it's not easy to write a love song. It's quite a different song for her. It's very emotive, and it's her final ballad of the final, and it's very emotive. It's very well staged. She's sort of on a piano, and lots of it's on Steadicam, and it's very much focused on her and the way she sings, and she does sing very, very well. The song itself, though, I think is probably quite a bit weaker than all her other songs. It is very different, but it just doesn't stick in the same way others have, which is why I think it has been suffering on streaming compared to many of the other songs in this final. But she does have a big fan base that could back her in the Teddy vote. But whether she'll win, I think it's unlikely that someone on their 4th attempt would win with their weakest song. Now, song number 9 is Medina Que Sera. Now, Medina qualified last week from Heat 5, and they previously came 3rd place at Melodifestivalen 2022, and this time they're back with far more of a sort of football style anthem than before. Last time was very much sort of, it was a stadium filler. It had elements of what you'd expect in football anthems, but it was very much its own sort of thing. It had elements of dance in it and rhythm and reggaeton in it, and this year is far more sort of, we're going to do perhaps a Penatos type entry. And it very much sounds like this could be Penatos, but it is Medina. The staging is a bit strange. They've sort of got a house, and it's a bit like Lavender, Mickey Nunez style, like that. And there's this bicycle that comes out of nowhere, and they seem quite sort of cleaned up compared to last time. However, this is streaming very, very well. It's one of the best streamed songs of the year. This will for sure be a party anthem all over Sweden over the summer. Could this win? Yes, there's that potential. If it's not Marcus Martinez, I think Medina could be one of the potential winners. However, their song last time was better. It's unlikely this will do as well. Song number 10, Liamo, Dragon. So, if you've heard Andrew Lambu's Break a Broken Heart from Eurovision 2023 from Cyprus, which was written by plenty of Swedish songwriters, you've heard Liamo's Dragon. It's pretty much the same song, same staging, same costume even, very similar looking people, but there's not much else to say about it apart from that. Liamo, of course, has participated in Melodifestivalen a couple of times, most recently in 2022 with Bluffing, which did surprisingly well, ended up becoming a bit of a sleeper hit, but I doubt Dragon will do as well as that, and I doubt it's going to make its way that high up the scoreboard. Now, number 11 is Jacqueline. She's a Melfest debutante, and her song Effortless is one of the big favourites to win. And again, if it's not Marcus Martinez, it very well could be her. Leading with the iconic lyric, "Call the police 'cause you just stole my heart." Will Jacqueline steal the hearts of the Swedish public? We'll have to see, but everything is looking for a very good result for Jacqueline and Effortless. Finally, number 12 is Danny Saucedo, Happy That You Found Me. Now, just like Dotter, this is Danny Saucedo's 4th Melodifestivalen entry, although his 5th overall as he was in a group beforehand. He also hosted Melodifestivalen in 2013, so he's well versed in Melodifestivalen. And although he as an artist is very famous, very big in Sweden, and he will certainly get a lot of televote support because of that, his song does seem to be the weakest song he's entered yet, and also seems to be very different from the sort of music he's currently bringing out. It's almost as if in 2021, where he entered something quite contemporary and quite like his current music, and he didn't win or didn't do particularly well in the final at all. It's almost as if he said, okay, when I come back I need to enter something more like what I was entering in 2011 or 2012. Which, does make sense if it wasn't for the fact not just he's moved on as an artist since 2011, 2012, but also the entire music industry has. And this song feels incredibly dated. And even for the sort of music he was making then, it doesn't feel like it was the best of that. I think that although this, sort of an EDM dance song, very much in the style of the early 2010s, and on Song 12 will get everyone on their feet and get everyone jumping up and happy and excited and finish the party, I can't see this particularly doing well, let alone having much chance to win it. I think potentially it could be a strong televote based upon name power, as his name is absolutely enormous, but the song itself is pretty much the most generic, most dated song you've heard in Melodifestivalen in quite a long time, so I don't expect this has very much chance to win. So the songs really that I think have any plausible chance to win is Marks and Martinez Unforgettable, which I think is like a 99% chance of winning. Maria Sir When I'm Gone, if it can win from first place, that's absolutely great. That does stand a chance. It's a very strong song. Medina Que Sera, I think if Sweden want to go for something entirely different, that is the one to go for. And Jacqueline Effortless, again, just a very, very well produced pop song. That's very contemporary, very 2024. Those are the only four I really see winning out of those 12, mostly going to be Marks and Martinez. Though, as I say, I would be incredibly surprised if they're not the Swedish entry in a couple of days' time. As for the rest of the show, we don't actually know much. SVT haven't really released anything about what's going to go on. There's obviously a very high chance that Loreen will make an appearance because of the fact that Loreen didn't make an appearance in Heat 1, which tends to be the tradition that the previous winner opens Heat 1, and there was no Loreen to be seen. And Loreen, of course, won the Eurovision Song Contest last year, so it would be very strange if she did not make an appearance at Melodifestivalen, and so you would think the final into that is going to be Loreen. Now, if you catch your mind back to Melodifestivalen 2013 and Melodifestivalen 2016, in both those finals, there was a performance of Loreen Euphoria and Måns Zelmerlöw's Heroes in that, which was a very special performance and done in a very different way to as usual. And both of those performances were copied beat for the opening of the two Eurovision semi-finals in 2013 and 2016. So if Loreen does do a performance at a 2 in the final Melodifestivalen tomorrow night, if you go just by what's been done before, that could very well be the opening act of the first semi-final of Eurovision 2024. We don't know that for sure, but based upon tradition, that would make sense. So the show will be on at 7 o'clock in the UK and 8 o'clock in Europe on SVT1 and SVT Play. There will also be English commentary available, provided by SVT Play if you want to listen with an English commentary. The commentary is by Bella Quisk and William Lee Adams. So if you wish to hear some English language commentaries to explain what the hell is going on, turn on that. I'll be there in the Friends Arena taking in everything that will be happening, and I'll be able to come back to you early in the week to explain my thoughts and feelings and recollections of everything that went on in the Friends Arena for you at Melodifestivalen 2024. So I'll leave you there with all that information about the Melodifestivalen 2024 final. Hope you enjoyed the show, the end to Eurovision 2024's national final season. Until the next time, nurse Shirley, follow us everywhere, follow us on Spotify, follow us on Apple Podcasts, do whatever you want to do, and remember to vote for the music.
This is to music first, always.
We are unstoppable.
Open the frontiers to make people meet people.
Music is not fireworks. Music is feeling.
you're good to go.
Don't you vote for the music?
This is Vote for the Music, the Eurovision podcast.